Purchase orders are legal and operational commitments. When the terms of that commitment change, a quantity is revised, a delivery date shifts, a line item is added or removed, or pricing is corrected, both the buyer and the supplier need to know which version is current. That becomes especially important when a purchase order changes more than once. If a supplier receives several revised copies of the same purchase order, the process needs to make clear which revision controls, what changed, and how receiving should be handled when the packing list still references the original PO number. Carillon handles that with formal purchase order revision control. When a revision is made to an approved purchase order, Carillon creates a new purchase order record in the database for the revised version. The vendor-facing purchase order number remains the original purchase order number, so the vendor always sees the same PO number regardless of how many revisions occur. Internally, Carillon tracks the original PO number, the latest PO number, and the revision number, preserving the relationship between the original commitment and each revised version. This gives the supplier a stable reference while preserving formal revision control inside the ERP. The change order can be communicated to the supplier by fax, email, or print, using the supplier's own item IDs and descriptions where applicable. Carillon's public purchase order documentation describes supplier communication as a core purpose of purchasing, communicating purchase orders, change orders, and cancellation orders to suppliers, using supplier item IDs and descriptions when appropriate. It also lists change orders as purchase order processing functionality. Carillon also carries that revision logic into receiving. When goods arrive, the supplier's packing list normally references the original vendor-facing PO number. During inventory receipts, when the original PO number is entered, Carillon automatically retrieves the latest revision of that purchase order and applies the receipt against the current approved version. This architecture ensures the warehouse receives against the most recently approved commitment, even when the physical paperwork in the box points to the original PO number. Oracle's documented NetSuite workflow for editing a purchase order is different. Oracle instructs the user to find the purchase order, click Edit, make the necessary changes directly on the purchase order. And if the vendor has received the earlier version, state that the purchase order is a revised order in the vendor message field. Oracle then instructs the user to check the appropriate box to print, email, or fax a copy of the revised purchase order to the vendor and save the transaction. NetSuite does keep internal change history. Oracle documents transaction history, system notes, audit trail functionality, and System Notes v2 for tracking record and transaction changes, including who made changes, when changes occurred, and old and new values for changed fields. That internal audit history is useful, but it is not the same thing as a supplier-facing purchase order change order process. In Oracle's documented workflow for editing an existing purchase order, the revised document is the modified purchase order sent again to the vendor. The documentation does not describe generating a distinct supplier-facing change order document, assigning a purchase order revision number, or maintaining an original PO latest revision relationship that automatically directs receiving to the current approved revision when the vendor references the original PO number. Oracle does document NetSuite change orders in the supply planning workbench, but that documentation concerns suggested supply plan changes after firmed and released orders, rather than a structured supplier-facing procurement workflow for revising already issued purchase orders. For organizations where purchase orders are high-value, multi-revision commitments, construction, manufacturing, government contracting, project-based procurement, or any business with long supplier relationships and complex purchasing activity, the difference matters. System Notes help answer audit questions after the fact. Formal revision control helps the buyer, supplier, receiving department, and accounting department stay aligned on which version of the commitment controls. Companies evaluating this requirement should verify directly with Oracle NetSuite whether their licensed configuration supports supplier-facing purchase order change orders with revision numbers, original PO, latest revision tracking, automatic receiving against the latest revision, before and after change detail, approval controls, and structured supplier communication, and whether that capability is included natively or requires SuiteScript, SuiteFlow, a Suite app, or a third-party procurement add-on.